Moving on, we come to the third week of our Advent walk. We still have the sand representing the difficulties of our journey. The light to which we journey, represented by the single candle flame, and the angel as messenger and guide. We have light to shed abroad, faith to exercise, and guidance from above. And so we move on to our shepherds. So why shepherds? These were one of the despised groups in Middle Eastern societies. Remember the story of Joseph in Egypt, telling his family that when they arrived in Egypt, they were to say that they were shepherds, because then the Egyptians wouldn't want them living near them. According to the Mishnah, the written tradition of the Pharisees, sheep were only to be in the wastelands and not near the cities. So why were the sheep in the hills above Bethlehem, only 4 or 5 miles from Jerusalem? Probably they were temple sheep, being reared for the springtime festivals. Why were they being born in winter? Again, they would need many lambs in spring. In the Middle East, many more sheep are naturally born in winter. These temple lambs would be precious, worth lots of money. When born, they would be wrapped in strips of old cloth and laid in feeding troughs to protect them prior to inspection by the priests to see whether they were suitable for temple use. Adult sheep are naturally led, not herded or driven in the Middle East and in Palestine, in contrast to the United Kingdom, where we drive and herd sheep. At dusk, they would be herded into an enclosure of rocks and stones and brushwood. The head shepherd, probably only in late teens or early 20s, would sleep at the gateway to the enclosure, blocking any entrance or exit. The junior shepherds, as they are today, would be younger males or even females. These were the chosen ones for the message of the angels that night. The shepherds would not have been welcome in Bethlehem. As a disreputable group, they would be open to challenge by the military or civil authorities and abuse from the general population. Still, they went, risking perhaps their lives and possibly their jobs, as they had left their sheep either unprotected or guarded by fewer people. Do you face challenges and risks as you go to follow the way of Christ? Born in the darkest night, with soldiers on the streets, all the bitterness and hate, and the sound of marching feet. But then come many angels lighting up the sky, and poor shepherds, they were ready to follow. I wonder why. They made their way to Bethlehem, leaving flocks behind, and finding there a baby, a saviour for mankind. But now today in Bethlehem, militia and soldiers fill the streets, filled with hate and bitterness, and still the marching feet. But now this very year, across your world so wide, we celebrate again your birth, our Saviour, King and Guide. With grateful thanks to the publisher Kevin Mayhew and the author Mary Hathaway for permission to use and amend this poem. How do you feel now in 2020? Do you feel that nobody cares and that you don't matter at all? Are you feeling lonely, afraid, even out in the dark and cold, and totally isolated? Are you the receiver of God's divine message, his good news for you? Will you accept it and journey onwards, passing on that message? Are you willing to be anointed by God as his chosen messenger? As we walk on through Advent, may the words of the prophets, the light of the angels, the courage of the shepherds, and the faithfulness of Mary and Joseph enable us to walk on with joy.